Hey guys, Morgan's Maintenance. Today's tool talk is going to be all about the Veto Pro Pack SPMC, which is that free bag on the spring promotion this year if you buy a Tier 1 bag. But I'm also going to talk about the SBLD, which was the free bag if you bought a Tier 1 bag during the spring promotion last year. And I've been running this bag for the last year, and it's an absolute beast. It holds a ton of tools. I actually really like this bag, but I'm wanting to go a little bit more sleek, a little bit smaller, kind of going back to my TP4B roots. That's kind of what I started this channel. That's what I was using at the time. And I kind of want to go back to like that 90%, 80% bag where you just got some hand tools in there. You're grabbing it to get some work done. And then I'm going to use my MCTP, which I just did a video for, as my bigger tool bag for if I need more tools or it's a bigger job or whatever it might be. That's the goal behind it. In fact, I'm going to try to not even use these two things here. I want it to be super sleek, super small, kind of just a quick grab bag. That's going to be the go behind of it. But I'm going to move my tools from my SBLD over into my SPMC. I thought I'd go ahead and film it because it might help you decide if the SPMC, based on the tools that I put into it, would be a good use for you. And if nothing else, it's going to teach you about the SBLD. Maybe you've been looking about that. You'll see how many tools I've got left over after I put them over into the SPMC, and then that'll give you an idea of what this bag will actually hold. And this might not end up being my final loadout. I'm going to be kind of doing it off the cuff, just grabbing tools, sticking them where I think they're going to be. It'll take some time of adjusting things, moving things around, but I'm going to put the tools for sure that I want in this bag, and then anything left over, that's going to end up going in my MCTP. But let me go ahead and change the angle so we can get a better look at these things, and we'll start moving some tools over. So as I start moving tools over, again, my plan is to not use either one of these. If I'm going to use anything, I'm going to use this pouch right here just for some extra hand tools if I feel like I need them and I don't want to lose them as far as in my 90% bag. I know for sure that I'm not going to use this. I might hang this up in my truck and end up using it, but typically I just use my spider drill pins or the holstery pin pal or something like that with my impact. I probably won't ever use that. May end up using this, but I'm not going to put tools in it until the end, whatever's left over, just to give you guys an idea of what would fit in this bag if you use that pouch right there. So I'll start up here at this front pouch. Again, the SPMC has the same thing. I think this one might be a little bit bigger. We'll open this up. I'm going to basically just transfer that stuff straight over. I don't know, it might be pretty close to the same in size. So flip socket shafts. I got several different sizes down in there. There's the 1/4, 5/16. Here's a small shaft in case I need to get somewhere tight. Here's the super long one as well. And then I also keep several other ones. I probably don't need all these down in there. I keep a couple just because sometimes if I'm running one size and then I want to run another size just to keep from swapping stuff around, I'll put one size on another one. But I probably don't need all these in there, but they don't really take up any room, and I'm not putting anything else down in there anyways. I'm going to go ahead and dig all this stuff out so I'm not having to open and hold this flap every time. And then I'll go through it. So that's everything that is down inside of there. So again, flip socket shafts, I'll go ahead and just throw those in the bottom. I'm going to put this small one. There are some bit holding spots down inside of there. We'll tuck that in there. I also have an entire set of this. So again, 90% bag. This is essentially a magnetic nut driver set. Saves a lot of space and having a bunch of different screwdrivers. Here is a that wrench from Klein. This one has the 7/16, 5/16, 3/8, and 1/4 inch. I'll keep that down in there as well. And again, these tools might end up moving around. I'm just kind of throwing them over as I'm going, just an intuitive place of where I'm going to stick them. I'll end up moving them over time. Here's a Milwaukee bit holder. I'll put that down inside that bit holding spot too. Klein little small ratchet, stick that in there. And then here's basically my Allen key set. Again, that you can't beat the compact size, in my opinion, of a regular bit rail with the SAE and the metrics all in there at one time. Stick that in there. We'll shut this up. And I don't think that really puffs out that much further than what it was on the SBLD anyway. So that's everything out of that front pouch. Open up this pouch now. I'm not too sure that this little panel right here is not pretty well exactly the same almost as the slots and stuff that you have on this. So it should be kind of 1 for 1. So impact 11-in-1 screwdriver from Klein. I think I've got just the regular setup inside of it. Nothing really changed out on that. Again, I can take my flip sockets and stuff and put them in this. That's the only reason why I'm carrying this in a bag like this, because again, I'm trying to carry less screwdrivers. We'll slide that in there. I would even put this possibly in the big scheme of things out here on the outside, so I don't even have to get in the bag for that. Vessel USB, so with a DeWalt bit holder. So this is my anything I want it to be screwdriver. We'll slide that in there as well. Over here on this side, I've been running these Klein small pliers wrench And then I also keep my Knipex. I don't need both these pairs. I've only been running both of them in here just because I've been trying out the Kleins. I've had no issues with them. I really like them so far. But I'll probably go ahead and stay with the Knipex. Might as well. I've already got them. I'm going to even put these in here basically the same way as I've got them in my other bag. So Knipex Cobras, these are the 180s. I'm going to go back and clean these too after I get done. And then also we've got the twin grips. These are the 200s, the original pair. That will fit in there. And then over here, I've got a pair of Klein angle diagonals. Those right now have just been tucked down in here. You don't necessarily have that, but I still do have this over here that you can kind of stick it down in there, even though it's not in a pocket. Knipex Forge wire strippers. Those are right here in this one. But I'm going to actually see. Yeah, see, those will go there, and I can still grab those. So to me, that's a good spot for those, unless these fit there better. They probably will. So here's the snap-ons. These are the 9-inch pair. I'm going to see if those, oh yeah, that's awesome. So that goes right there. I'll probably put my Knipex Forge wire strippers over here on this side. So there's all those tools, which means I could probably, and I probably will, change over to some Knipex diagonals and turn them up like that. I like my stuff being like this up because it's just a small bag. I'm not sticking my hand into some crazy bag. I can basically select these tools out. It takes up less room in my opinion, even though your handles go kind of down inside this other pouch and it makes you lose it. But if I took all 4 of those and flipped them the other way, it's going to take up more room than that. So zip ties over here, keep a small amount of those. Now those I probably will tuck out here on the outside. I'm actually going to put them on this side just in case I use that one small pouch, just because the camera is going to be easier for me to show it to you on this side. So we'll definitely put those kind of somewhere like that. I believe that's possibly everything. I don't think I keep anything in the bottom of this one. So there's everything out of that main section, and I still got some room, you know, left in here. So that's a little bit surprising. Up in here, I've got the Milwaukee magnetic bit holder on a Phillips. Again, just going to move that stuff straight over into these as well. And then I've got, that's another reason why I'm going to keep the Knipex in here and not the Klein, is because I do have some jaw protectors for the Knipex ones, and I don't have them for the Klein. For some reason, I've got 2 of one of them, so I'm going to stick those up in here as well. So there's everything that's here, everything that's in here. Now we're going to go to the side pouches. What tools do I for sure want in there? Probably this tamper-proof screwdriver, because it's basically a precision driver set. We'll see if we can fit that back in, maybe with one of these, because I don't get it out crazy often, but I do want to carry that in my bag. So let me try this first and then put in a pair of pliers. That will end up working out. It's going to take some time, but that's going to work. So that's where I'm going to leave that. Stubby. Little small stubby in the Riley bit sheath. That's going to get lost if I put it down in there, so I'm probably not going to do that. That probably isn't going to make it into my 90% bag. I've got that little small Klein ratchet in there. That's what I would use in a small space over this right here, if that's something that needs to happen. Same thing here with the what is it, the Cyclops. I can't remember what the exact number on this one is. The 8009, that's the one with the bits. Also the ratchet type end and all that kind of stuff. This has actually become very useful to me, but I'm going to hold it out to the side for now. We'll see what we got left. That might end up being a weed out tool along with this Klein over here. So we'll set all the tools left over there. Pica, I'm for sure going to want a pencil. So I'm going to make basically one of these sides be pencil, probably even non-contact voltage tester. And again, I could take all these if I wanted to run this right here and put this in the side. And that might be the only reason why I would use this, is basically just a housing for certain things and then a quick grab tool of some sort. But I'm going to try again to kind of do this right here. Olight O-clip, probably, because I don't think there's really much place to, maybe I could do this. Clip this in on that parts bag right there like that. Possibly change that out to the G5. We'll see, but that'll work right there anyways. That'll actually even give me a little bit of a magnet right here, I think. Knipex knife doesn't need to be in my 90% bag. I'm going to carry probably a fastback with me, or even clip one over here on the side. So I'm going to leave that out for now too. So that's everything on this side. everything in the middle, everything in the pouch. Now we're over here. Railer magnet, I definitely want to have that. I'll slide that over here. Fits down in there nice. And the nice thing about that is it's probably going to give me, yeah, through the bag magnetism. So I don't even have to get it out of the bag sometimes. I can throw screws and stuff like that right on there. That's going to work out pretty nice. So as of now, I'm going to leave that, but I've also got another magnetic mat that I'm probably going to move over to here too. That doesn't need to be in my 90% bag. That's something I can grab if I know I'm going to need it. Small ratcheting screwdriver. I actually do really like this. I use it quite a bit, but again, I think it's going to come up missing if I stick it down in there. So it might not make it into this bag. That's kind of the downside of this bag, in my opinion, is that it really isn't made for small tools. There's not a lot of spots where you can put a stubby, where you can put things like that. So this would have to end up going up in that pouch. I don't know that there's room for it. I could possibly put it up in here for now. That's what I'm going to do just for the sakes of keeping it. Now my end cutting pliers with my small hammer, that's something that possibly if I don't use, you could tuck that down in there. I'm not going to do that because, again, I'm not trying to crazy load the outside of my bag. I don't even think I'm going to use this, other than I do like the feature of being able to throw stuff on there. And I'm probably rambling some, but you're working through it with me. I'm working through the process at the same time I'm filming it. I'm just filming it to try to help you guys. If you're curious about any of this, I've got 2 adjustable wrenches. Those will for sure go down in there. Probably need to go ahead and I'm going to do handles down on these, or handles up on these. But because I'm going to do that, I'm going to go ahead and close them a little bit. Those will fit down in the front. Probably don't even have to go in that pocket. But again, you can see these are shorter 6 inches. And because of that, you know, the handles are pretty close to the bottom of this. So far, that's the only negative that I'm seeing about this bag, but it's holding more than I actually thought it was going to, because right now, I've got everything that was in my SBLD up in the front of the bag, basically in here as it sits. Now we're going to go over here to the back side of the bag. So on this one, I've got this zipper pouch right here. That's the thing where I'm going to end up. This is the tools that basically are probably not going to go into this bag. So if I open this up, I keep my Fluke 324 in there, but this is actually going to go in my MCTP. I'm just going to plan on not carrying a meter with this bag at the moment, because this is just going to be my quick grab handbag tool, hand tool bag. And if I need a meter, I'm going to grab it out of my truck, probably my T6 1000 Pro, and just carry it in with this bag. So we're going to set this off to the side. Although with that magnet on there, I could just grab this, throw it onto the side. I don't know if that'll hold it or not, and carry that in. But that's going to be in my other bag for sure. So I've got the DeWalt gyroscopic screwdriver. I could probably still fit that down inside of here if I want to carry that with me. So that one is a power tool screwdriver that still works, but I typically don't use that if I've got this with me, unless it's just something crazy. So I don't know that I'm going to carry that, but just to show you, it could go in there. And then also, if you've got one of these, will it work in there? It would probably, yeah, it's going to fall out. So it's not going to work inside of your drill holster if you've got this and you were just curious about that. So you'd have to go with like an M12 or Bosch 12 volt or something like that. Hollow magnetic nut driver set. I probably actually do want these. So I don't know where I'm going to stick those at. I think that's a little bit much to stick them in that. They will probably fit back in here. We'll see. Here is also the loadout magnet. That actually fits really well inside of here. So that's what I was saying. I might end up going with this because I actually like this one better. It fits perfectly back here. Let's see. That's far enough away that this ain't going to work on there though. So if I decide to go with that one, I'm not going to go with this one, and that can just sit in there. And then also in the back here, I've got torpedo level. I probably don't have to have that in my bag, but we'll sit it in here. There's the DeWalt battery inside of that one. Don't need that if I'm not carrying the DeWalt. And then a small parts bin. I will probably take the stuff out of here because it's just small screws. couple wire nuts, couple Wagos, some spacers. I'll change this out to maybe some small unishims, and I'm just going to put those loose inside of this right here instead of trying to put it inside that whole entire box, because that box ends up taking up some space. But you can see I could fit that in there if I want to, and it still closes up. So just to let you know, you could put a parts box like that inside of there as well. And other than that, I've got gloves and the small brush and dustpan, which would still, again, obviously fit back here if I wanted to. So boom, small pair of gloves, tuck that inside of there, close that up. So really the only thing that's not in there that I kind of wish was is these right here. And I could definitely fit these in there somewhere if I want to. I've got this whole entire pocket up here that I could move something down into, whether it be that screwdriver. And then again, maybe I don't need all these with me, but I could put these back in here, get that pocket stretched out. That's how I'm going to set it for now, because I do want these with me for sure. So that should give you kind of an idea of what will fit in there. This whole entire bag is, now empty. And again, not all these tools are going to stay in here. Those are kind of the ones that I'd like to have in there, but I probably don't necessarily need them. But this bag is 100% empty now. What's left over? The DeWalt gyroscopic screwdriver. And I could, if I wanted to, put that up in there like that and shut that, but I'm not going to want to have to open that, get that out every time. My Vessel electric screwdriver takes care of a lot of it. Meter, but that's because I didn't plan on putting one in here, because I'm just going to grab one as I'm going in to do electrical work, because a lot of times I'm going in, I'm not doing electrical work. I don't need one of these, so I'd rather just have my bag full of hand tools for whatever the job is. Stubby, not going to carry that because I've got that small Klein ratchet in there, so that's just a space taker upper. I would carry it, it's just there's nowhere to put it in this bag for it not to get lost. Knipex Cutix knife, I'll probably end up putting that in a pouch. I do wish I was kind of putting this in there just because there's bits and stuff in there. Right now I don't have any bits kind of inside this bag, so that's one thing to consider. So this might end up making it having to stay inside of there, and I'm going to use that as my bit case, and then also like to have that with me because it will go down in there. It's just a little bit clustered in my opinion. I mean, it's definitely not super clustered, but a little bit more than what I want. Railer mag mat, definitely could stick that in there if I want to. And then a Klein pliers wrench, I don't need it, so I'm not putting it in there. And I'm keeping the Knipex because I've got those jaw protectors. But overall, most of the tools fit in there. I'm actually pretty surprised with that. And again, if I really wanted to, I could take a screwdriver, a pair of pliers or whatever, all these pencils, non-contact voltage tester, stuff like that, put it in this and go ahead and carry it over here on this side if I wanted to. Free up some of that space, or maybe I've got some bits that I use a lot like this here. I could take and put stuff like that, or free up the space for these bits in here, move something out there. So again, just because I'm not using these, that kind of limits some of the stuff that I couldn't put in there, but you can obviously use these and gain some of that space back. But there you go, guys. There's my initial loadout of my Veto Pro Pack SPMC. I essentially wanted to move my tools over today so I could start putting this bag into use, start fine-tuning that loadout. Again, it's not going to end up being probably what this is, but I'm just trying to give you guys an idea of what tools will fit in there. You might not have the same tools, but just seeing some tools in the bag might help you determine if it's a good bag for you. Or again, maybe you've been going back and looking at the SBLD. You're curious of what all will fit in there. I mean, it holds a ton of tools, but I'm actually quite surprised at how many tools this little small bag will hold. This is all that's left over from my SBLD that's not fitting in that SPMC. And again, I'm not even using the drill holster or this small pouch right here. If you put some tools in those, slap it on the side, that's going to change your results for sure. And the only negative so far that I see about this bag is short tools, that there's not really a good spot for it in this bag, no matter how you look at it. So that's something to take in consideration too. If you use a lot of small tools, this bag's probably not going to be for you. But let me know in the comments below what you think about either one of these bags. If you've run in either one of them right now, how do you like them? What you think about them? Those kinds of things. If you've got questions about either one of them, make sure and drop that down below. I'll try my best to answer those. But as always, I hope this video helps in some way. Hope it was useful. You guys stay safe. Have a blessed day. And I'll see you on the next video.